We could start on the introduction. Maybe Rian, you can go first.
Yeah, my name is Bjorn, and I'm a social media specialist at SearchMint, and I've been working there for 2 years now.
My name is Magnus Landin. I'm the founder and CEO of SearchMint. I founded SearchMint about 3.5 years ago. I've been starting companies looking a lot like the ones sitting here today, e-commerce companies, and actually founded a conference, e-commerce conference here in Sweden called eMeet, which is very similar in style as this one. Happy to be here. SearchMint is we're not a channel-specific agency. For us it's amazing to be able to sit here as a best-of-breed agency at a conference, since Facebook is not really the passion for us. It's the business creation that is the passion for us, and Facebook, it's just one channel for us to create that for the clients. So to pick a name, we're a hybrid agency between management, creativity, innovation, and marketing. Just creating growth.
What would you say that separates you from the rest?
I think, going back to Juha's talk, which was again a great talk. It was just about channel. It was just about Facebook. You can't really look at the Fortune 500 companies and really, this one built their success on Facebook marketing. It's just a channel. It's about the whole package. And we have this holistic approach. We actually managed to. We didn't really manage, but we have a lot of, we have clients here today, and they just let us work with a holistic approach of their business, and they invite us to this soft and hard data to, for us to really create results. So the holistic approach, the 360 approach, is our, the absolute strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. In the last Smartly Connect, Nico talked about 5 cornerstones of Facebook marketing, and they are the audience, bid, budget, creating, and the testing. So we could spend a bit of time on talking about this, and we could begin on the audience side. So how do you build up your audiences?
Yeah, because we are a growth agency, we got access to a lot of data, and we're working with both soft data and hard data, where soft data could be something like consumer decision journey and purchase triggers, and hard data could be like CRM data and engagement data, etc.
Juha talked about it in his talk. Before automating anything, you kind of need a baseline, and the baseline is probably best suited to develop based on soft data. Like, what is the actual customer pain? What are we solving? What problem are we solving for the consumer? So it's the combination. We have tapped into a bigger, a bigger well of insights, and that's what we can capitalize on.
Mm-hmm. Would you have some examples on this one? It's an interesting topic.
Maybe we should name the
Philips.
Yeah. Philips is actually here today. And it's a lot of it's actually Alexander sitting here actually left Philips, big mistake of course, for a few months, and then got his manners back and returned just recently, just a few days ago. But we actually managed to create a campaign with the blessing of Alexander last year, which just went through the roof. Philips came to us with one of their products, a body groomer. Traditionally, again, Philips is a very traditional company, a Fortune 500 company, very product focused. A very safe communication strategy going historically. And they came to us with this body groomer, and they said, we don't really sell any of these products. We have so much in store, we have so much in stock, and we need to start selling this category. And we asked, so how have you been marketing this product before? And they said, these images, and it was these perfect males. They were shaving their armpits and their, the chest hair, and they were looking with these tremendous smiles and everything. And we say, again, as on the US note, these creatives, they don't really engage the audience, so we need to shame them and said, sorry, not possible. We don't really have a budget for it. We really just need to get this, this product category to sell. So we tapped into hard and soft data. We looked at social media. We looked at forums. We looked at search, keyword analysis. What is the consumer searching for in relation to this, the armpits and the chest hairs? And pretty quickly we acknowledged that the body groomer, the customer pain was not for men, was not shaving their armpits or chest hair. It was shaving something else, trimming something else. And so internally we just came to the conclusion, oh my God, they are using knives, these sharp razors in position in places in their body that there shouldn't be a knife in anywhere close to that area. And again, we were working with a Fortune 400 company, very traditional company. But again, thanks to Alexander being more of a tech-savvy guy, we took upon us to save the balls. So we created a campaign that we called Save the Beanbag, or in Swedish, Rädda bollarna. And we put this idea and this concept in a presentation in keynote. And we stepped into the Philips office and we, pushed up the slide, and it was this creative of a guy actually shaving his stomach hair, but we cropped it. So we just saw a guy like reaching down, and we said, and then a hashtag below, Rädda bollarna, or Save the Beanbag. And the eyes of the marketing manager, which is a lady, a traditional lady, the eyes just went up, and it took us some time of convincing before we said, this is what we need to do. We need to engage. We can't really do this blend creatives with this blend concept, with, being nothing for no one. We need to be something for someone. And we were using ad copy and messaging that really just were humoristic and really, to be honest, childish. And we launched a campaign, and it was just tremendous success. We were driving huge amounts of traffic and conversions, well below, I think, 90% discount of the average cost per conversion. At one point, I think, for 2 or 3 days, we actually sold out in the entire Nordics. Even Philips' own shop was sold out, and people were just ranting in the comments, what is this bullshit? Where is this? Where can I buy this product? What is this about? You're promising everything, and we can't really buy the product. Where is it? And we were thinking, maybe we can create a black market for this product. No. It took a few days before Philips has refilled the stock, and the tremendous growth just continued. So for us, it's about understanding what's the actual problem or pain that we are solving, and it's not the chest hair or the arm hair, it's something else. And then tapping into, again, the soft data. How can we communicate with this? So how is actually men communicating about their hair? Well, the answer is not at all. We don't really talk about it. But humor, we like humor.
Yeah. Great. That's a great example. Talking about the creatives, that's like really, really important there. How do you handle the creative content and creation?
We believe that you need a complete dynamic creative environment, and to do that we are separating the visuals and the messaging, and then we can use methods and systems to pair them up for testing. So you could say that all our creatives are never static until we have uploaded them into the Facebook platform.
What does a good creative have? Do you know it beforehand that this is good?
I think maybe normally it's about a question for you to answer, but understanding what a great creative is about, again, understanding the customer pain. I'm going to rant about this way too many times about this, during this chat, but creatives that doesn't really create value, they shouldn't really exist at all. So the inventory is getting, even though the algorithm is actually based, and actually on Google and other channels as well, it's actually based on engagement. You can actually get reach discount based on engagement. That value is the true, the true currency of success today. So no, we can't see on beforehand if a creative is going to be, good or bad, but we can have a good guess. And the soft data enables us to have a very good guess, and then we can use the hard data, as you had discussed, to really prove our hypothesis. But the soft data, the understanding of the actual customer pain, enables us to do the right tests and pad the right messaging with the right creatives, as Björn said.
Great. We could next talk a bit about the bidding and budgeting. It's always an interesting question. How do you measure the success of Facebook campaigns? That's important for the bidding.
The measuring ROI, etc.
Yeah, ROI, LTV.
Again, going back to the purpose, the purpose that our clients hire us for is not about scaling as a specific channel, even though we do those more niche assignments as well. It's about growing their business. So for us, when we look at a client scope, Facebook has one or several purposes to fill. And when looking at the customer decision journey, for us, it's about having the cheapest amounts of interactions, the lowest cost per interaction, which then sums up to the total cost per acquisition. So we need to look at it on a micro conversion and on a macro conversion. So we need the total amount of micro conversions that we need to have, the interactions, the clicks, the likes, whatever the micro conversion might be, the total sum of those will then be the CPA for us. So as long as the total sum of interactions is below or on the business target that we work with, the LTV, that's just we're just a happy bunch.
Mm-hmm. How about the bids? How do you set in the bids? Do you use the manual bid, automatic bidding, average, maximum bidding?
We often use manual bids, and we try to. We want to give as much, but to bid as high as possible for the most efficient conversion funnel, and I think it's.
I think you actually talked about it. Actually, we want to be in control of the cost per interaction, but we don't really look at the bids. We can bid really, really high for an interaction as long as the total sum per interaction with the consumer sums up to on or below the overall business KPI.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why we tend to use a minimum and maximum manual bidding strategy rather than automating. We just as you have said, we don't really feel like we need to sit there on an hourly basis and change bidding. That's not what we do. We need to try a sequence of interactions and find the cheapest one on the total sum.
And you had an interesting way of thinking about the conversion window. How do you use that? So.
Yeah, we tend to think of it like if we work with a very large client who maybe have a lot of different touch points going on at the same time. It could be like TV ads or newspaper ads, for example. If they do that, we want to tighten up the conversion window a bit because we know that there could be a lot of other things tapping into the conversions. But if there is a much smaller client who is maybe only doing this Facebook campaign that we are handling right now, we want to widen up the conversion window because we can be pretty certain that all the conversions that is going in could be applied to our campaigns.
Yeah, and also going back to Juha's talk about opening up the attribution window in regards to seeing if your KPI is actually met on a broader attribution window. We don't really tend to do that actually. We tend to work with the micro conversion framework rather, where we start at the end. What is the macro conversion, and what are different kind of micro conversions or micro interactions on the way there, which enables us to actually create campaigns to focused on a specific micro conversion. So we can still work on a tighter attribution window, but we focused on conversion on a micro conversion, which gives us more data, conversion data. I hope that's clear.
Yeah. How about then about the budgeting, because that's always related to the bidding. How do you manage the budgets?
Yeah, that is another handle that we're doing on an automatic basis, because we believe that a computer, as you was into, will most likely do that better than us, and we want to feed as much budget as possible to the most effective conversion funnels. So the best way of doing that is through automation, and Smartly is a great tool for that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Then we could talk a bit about the testing. It's always important topic with the Facebook. You also mentioned that it's not always reasonable to test everything, but how do you decide what to test and whether to know that, okay, we know this works and not?
Yeah, we tend to work with 3 different campaigns, with campaign types, engage, conversion, and funnel campaigns. And with the data that we can acquire from those campaigns, we then put together in high converting sequencing funnels. And then we like testing small incremental things inside those, but not like.
Yeah, Juha said it also. He made it so simple for us. He said bid boldly, and we say test boldly. So for us, we have the macro campaigns for engagement and conversion, and we tend to do bold tests on those because we don't really, we can test 2 completely different creatives on the same audience, or we can do crazy tests. But then when we find things and sequence that we can, again, see that the total sum of the interaction or the CPA or the conversion the business KPI, we do smaller incremental tests.
Yeah.
So we have macro campaigns with macro tests, and we have micro campaigns in funnels and sequences.
Great. We could then talk a bit about the e-commerce side. How do you structure your e-commerce funnel, and how do you manage budgets inside these different funnels?
Yeah, we believe that they're all the same as every other clients, and you need to engage the audience to be relevant, and you can't just push a product into the face of the customer and expect them to pay upfront. Most likely, the customer decision journey is a lot longer than you might expect. So we don't handle it any difference, I believe.
Yeah, it's just technical differences. They have an inventory which opens up for a few features in Facebook advertising, but it's going back to customer pain and understanding the customer decision journey and being able to correlate that towards the specific channel. That's the secret sauce. Not about just thinking about the products, pushing the products out. You will do that as well. When you've found how to become relevant to your customer.
Mm-hmm. The dynamic product ad is in the core of e-commerce. How do you handle the feed in the dynamic product ads?
Again, that's something, just to kind of shortly present my role in the company. I don't work tactically with Facebook advertising. But I'm going to grab this question anyway. The feed for us, and again, thinking cross-channel, it's not just the Facebook feed, it's the overall, the inventory, the shopping inventory feed. That's like the backbone of getting the testing framework in place. So when we look at clients, the standard feeds that we see, just having the product name or the price or whatnot, it's lacking a lot of fantastic and magical data in there. So we tend to actually nurture the feed and create feed buckets or data buckets in the feed on business data. So, for example, we're experimenting highly with a large e-commerce company where we've created a model for profitability, retention, returns, and we created buckets for that, which is, of course, not understandable for any one of you when you see it, but for us, that has the kind of translation between the model that we created and the name for it. we can then start to bid and create the data test framework, because this is more of when you get there, since the DPA is more of the conversion part of the customer decision journey, we can then just work on hard data to steer the consumer towards product that we have high retention or high LTV or high profitability.
Do you split the message inside the DPA campaigns also, and how do you do that?
Yeah, we usually do this because, for example, a customer who's like only visited the product page but not added a product to cart, they most likely needs some more trust or more explanation about the product. But if the same customer had, for example, added the product to cart but not converted, they most likely need some kind of urgency or some kind of deal or something to make them act.
Yeah, and again, that's where the micro and macro KPI framework comes into picture. That's how we can steer the messaging to become very relevant.
Mm-hmm. The learnings are always a big part.
Sorry?
The learnings. Facebook is developing so fast. What are the biggest learnings that you have had, and if you can give some concrete examples?
Sensitive question, I think. I think that's, thanks to clients such as, Philips or Reboteket sitting down there, it's actually their money has financed our learning. So we tend to be pretty cautious when we speak about it, but maybe a top level.
Yeah, one top level example is around holistic content creation, where we want to create the most converting funnel of the most profitable funnel with content that can both engage and convert the user at the same time. And even though video has been a very trending topic recently, we believe that there's very much to innovate around it regards to distribution and production.
Yeah, from the software world, you hear the MVP, the minimum viable product, etc. And we can think about the minimum viable, production, content production, creative production. We see these big companies; they spend a lot of their budgets doing expensive, huge-scale productions with fantastic imagery. But is that really the pragmatic approach? When testing and failing forward is such a central part of success, is that really, each test and each fail forward becomes so expensive when you have these big scale productions. So we tend to, again, when we've found a sequence that we really love, then we can start to nurture the quality of the production. But when we work with the macro tests and the macro campaigns, we want smaller incremental, productions. So save on the production cost to be able to spend more on distribution and test and learnings.
If you would give one advice to the audience here and now, what would it be?
I think the focus is actually too much on the tactics. We think that the tactic is going to save us, or the tactic is going to create this huge success. But I think for us it's about two things, and we actually apply this on ourselves. It's about being relevant and creating value. And doing that is not about tactics. It's actually about applying the soft data and the hard data to understand your consumer. That's the short answer. Become relevant and create value. So
we could have a couple of words of Smartly and SearchMint partnership to the end. Could you briefly tell how everything began?
Yeah, as always, it was someone at us who tested it out and saw really great results. And as always, we want to make the most out of our efforts. And even though we only have like 20 employees, we have a head of tech and innovation, and that is how important those things are for us.
Yeah, so we love the smart team, so that's one of the reasons. But it's hard to find a supplier being so that helpful. But I think the main reason, a bit more egoistic approach, is about amplifying our minds. It's about making it, the Stark costume with, the robot arms. That's smartly for us. It's about using technology to amplify our ideas and mind, and that's the main reason for us.
Great. We have now a couple of questions from the audience.
And we do not answer any tactical questions today, right?
Okay, we can have these ones now. Let's start with the first one. How does your balance between evergreen and seasonal campaigns look like? Are you optimizing them differently?
Can I have that?
Yeah.
Because that's a great question. The evergreen, so we can actually rename the campaign types that we mentioned. We have the engage, the convert, and the funnels. So the funnels are the evergreen campaigns for us normally. Because building a really efficient funnel, as Juha also said, that you need to build advertising that can scale over time, not just like small bursts of results. So we tend to do seasonal or more time-specific campaigns in the engagement and the conversion campaigns, and then use the evergreen in the funnels, because that's where we can really use data and insights over time.
Next one would be, do you have any cases where the client have changed their services or products or added new based on marketing data, or even pivoted to the company as whole?
Do we have any clients that has changed their product or service mid cooperation? I need to think. I draw blank here.
Yeah, me too. Sorry.
Sorry about that. No, we. I think pivoted, if that's described as improved or built upon their service, yes, we have. But completely changed our product or service, no. That's never been the case.
Not yet.
Actually. Not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, then there's a question that can you separate the campaign strategy and creative team completely?
Sorry, can you?
Can you separate the campaign strategy and creative team completely?
Yeah. So at SearchMint we have 3 dimensions of a client team. We have the strategist, we have the success manager, and we have the specialist team, the spec ops. We have the creativity and the strategy team, or the strategists, such as Björn. Yes, we have them separately, but they work very closely. They work together in pods or teams. So I think the strategist will need an injection of creativity, as well as the creativity mind needs an injection of strategy, aka reality. Yeah. But working closely, definitely.
Good. That was actually all the questions from the Slido. We have a couple of minutes time. Does anyone have any more questions?
Or just come up to us and have a beer, for God's sake. You also have Adam. He's the best-looking guy from SearchMint. So, look him up and just grab a beer with us later. We can chat.
Thank you very much for being here. It has been really a pleasure.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.